Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that your kindness is being mistaken for weakness, that your silence is being seen as surrender, that the very softness you wear like a crown is being used against you? Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to scream no, but you smiled instead, where you felt unappreciated, undervalued, and unseen, but you convinced yourself that this is just how life is supposed to be? Today, I am here to tell you, stop. Stop being a woman who breaks herself into pieces to keep others whole. Stop living in the shadows, waiting for someone to tell you that you are enough, because you already are. Strength isn't about aggression, it's about resilience, self-respect, and confidence. Strength is not about how loud your voice is, how firm your stance appears, or how intimidating you can be to others. True strength is silent, powerful, and unwavering. It is the ability to stand firm in your beliefs when the world pressures you to bend. It is the resilience to rise after every setback, knowing that every fall is merely a stepping stone to something greater. It is the self-respect to walk away from situations that no longer serve you, even when it hurts. It is the confidence to trust yourself, even when no one else does. Women are often told that being strong means being tough, that to be taken seriously, they must strip themselves of their softness. But the reality is that strength and softness are not opposites. They coexist beautifully. A woman's strength is not defined by her ability to be cold or unfeeling, nor is it measured by how much pain she can endure in silence. Strength is about choosing when to be soft and when to stand firm, when to give and when to withhold, when to stay and when to walk away. Resilience is the backbone of true strength. Life does not always go according to plan, and challenges are inevitable. Some days will be filled with disappointments, heartbreaks, and failures, but these moments are not meant to break you. They are meant to shape you. Every struggle you face is a lesson, an opportunity to grow into the woman you were always meant to be. The world will test you. It will try to shake you, discourage you, and convince you that you are not enough. But the only way to prove it wrong is to keep standing, to keep moving forward, even when the weight of the world feels unbearable. Self-respect is another foundation of strength. It is about knowing your worth and never settling for less than you deserve. Too often, women are conditioned to accept the bare minimum, to tolerate disrespect, to remain in spaces where they feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. But self-respect means refusing to let anyone treat you as if you are disposable. It means setting boundaries and enforcing them without guilt. It means not allowing fear to keep you in places that drain your energy and rob you of your happiness. Confidence is the force that propels you forward. The belief that you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. It is not about arrogance or the absence of fear. It is about trusting yourself even when the world tries to make you doubt your abilities. Confidence is cultivated through experience, through stepping out of your comfort zone and proving to yourself that you are stronger than your fears. It is about speaking up even when your voice shakes, about taking risks even when you are unsure of the outcome. There will always be people who try to undermine your strength, who tell you that you are too much, too ambitious, too independent, too bold. But you were not born to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You were not meant to dim your light so that others can shine. You were meant to take up space, to embrace your power fully, to walk through life with your head held high, knowing that you are worthy of everything you desire. Strength is also about making choices that align with your values, even when they are difficult. It is about choosing yourself, your dreams, your peace, and your happiness. It is about refusing to live for the validation of others, about prioritizing your well-being over societal expectations. It is about knowing that you do not have to prove your worth to anyone, because your worth is inherent. It is not something that can be given or taken away by anyone else. Women are often taught that their value lies in their ability to care for others, to nurture, to sacrifice. While there is immense beauty in kindness and compassion, strength means understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot keep giving if you have nothing left for yourself. Being strong means knowing when to step back, when to say no, when to choose yourself unapologetically. Strength is not about perfection. It is not about never feeling fear, doubt, or sadness. It is about feeling all of those things and pushing forward anyway. It is about embracing your vulnerabilities without letting them define you. It is about acknowledging your struggles while refusing to be defeated by them. True strength is not in pretending to be invincible, but in knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you have the power to overcome it. Women have been conditioned to believe that their value lies in how much they can endure, how much they can sacrifice, and how much they can tolerate in silence. From a young age, they are taught to be accommodating, to put others before themselves, to shrink when necessary, and to avoid being perceived as too demanding, too emotional, or too ambitious. This conditioning creates a cycle where women continuously suppress their needs, desires, and aspirations, believing that being selfless is the ultimate virtue. Society has built a narrative around the idea that a good woman is one who sacrifices. She is the one who stays quiet to keep the peace, who puts her dreams on hold for the sake of others, who accepts less than she deserves because asking for more is seen as ungrateful. She is told to be patient when she is being mistreated, to be forgiving when she is being disrespected, and to be understanding when she is being taken for granted. And so she keeps giving, keeps adjusting, keeps compromising, believing that this is what makes her worthy of love and acceptance. But what happens when a woman decides that she no longer wants to live by these rules? What happens when she chooses herself instead of constantly bending for others? She is called selfish. She is told she has changed. She is made to feel guilty for prioritizing her own happiness. The world is uncomfortable with women who refuse to conform, because a woman who knows her worth is a woman who cannot be controlled. She cannot be manipulated into believing that she has to accept less than she deserves. She cannot be guilted into staying in places where she is not valued. She cannot be silenced by the fear of being labeled difficult. Strength is not about how much you can endure. It is about how much you are willing to walk away from when it no longer serves you. It is about recognizing that you do not have to prove your worth by constantly putting yourself last. It is about knowing that you are not obligated to accept mistreatment just because you have been taught that enduring pain makes you noble. True strength is about setting boundaries and enforcing them unapologetically. It is about knowing when to say no without feeling the need to justify your decision. A woman who understands her worth does not seek validation from others. She does not need to be told that she is enough because she already knows it. She does not wait for permission to chase her dreams, to speak her mind, or to take up space. She does not apologize for being bold, for being ambitious, for demanding respect. She understands that being strong does not mean being aggressive or unkind. It means refusing to settle for anything less than what she deserves. Women are often expected to suppress their voices, to accept unfair treatment, and to tolerate disrespect in the name of being accommodating. They are taught that standing up for themselves makes them difficult or unlikable. But there is nothing wrong with demanding respect. There is nothing wrong with refusing to accept behavior that diminishes your worth. There is nothing wrong with knowing what you want and refusing to settle for anything less. Strength is about breaking free from the cycle of self-sacrifice and learning to choose yourself without guilt. It is about understanding that you do not have to prove your love or loyalty by continuously giving to people who do not reciprocate. It is about recognizing that you are not obligated to carry the weight of other people's expectations at the expense of your own well-being. The moment a woman decides that she is worthy of more is the moment everything changes. She no longer tolerates disrespect. She no longer accepts the bare minimum. She no longer allows herself to be treated as an afterthought. She no longer feels guilty for prioritizing herself, and in doing so, she reclaims her power. Women are often taught that being soft means being weak, but true softness is a choice, not a limitation. It is the ability to be kind without being taken advantage of, to be understanding without being walked over, and to be compassionate without compromising your own needs. Softness is not about passivity. It is about balance. It is about knowing when to be gentle and when to be firm, when to give and when to hold back, when to stay and when to walk away. The strength of a woman is not measured by how much she can endure, but by how much she refuses to accept that does not align with her worth. It is about knowing that she does not have to be everything for everyone at the cost of losing herself. It is about recognizing that she is not defined by how much she can tolerate, but by how boldly she chooses herself. Strength is not about how much pain you can endure. It is about how much you are willing to protect your own peace. The world teaches women that suffering in silence is a virtue, that enduring hardship without complaint is admirable, and that prioritizing themselves is selfish. But what if I told you that true strength comes not from enduring unnecessary pain, but from knowing when to walk away? What if I told you that resilience is not about how much you can take, but about how much you refuse to accept? Women are often told to suppress their emotions, to be agreeable, to make themselves smaller so that others can feel more comfortable. They are expected to compromise their needs, adjust their personalities, and silence their voices for the sake of keeping the peace. But a peace that comes at the cost of your own well-being is not peace at all. It is self-betrayal. Strength is not about being passive in the face of mistreatment. It is about standing firm in your values, knowing your worth, and refusing to be reduced by the expectations of others. A strong woman does not tolerate situations that drain her energy, diminish her confidence, or strip her of her dignity. She does not stay in spaces where she is only valued when she is convenient. She does not entertain relationships that require her to beg for love, attention, or respect. She does not engage in conversations that make her question her worth. She understands that strength is not in proving how much she can endure, but in proving how much she respects herself. Women are often taught to be afraid of being alone, to believe that their value is tied to their relationships, that their happiness should be dependent on external validation. But the strongest women are those who have learned to enjoy their own company, who do not settle for companionship that does not nourish them, who do not fear solitude because they understand that being alone is far better than being surrounded by the wrong people. Strength is knowing that you do not need to be chosen by anyone to feel complete. It is knowing that you are already whole on your own. There will always be people who try to convince you that your strength is a flaw. They will call you difficult when you set boundaries, cold when you refuse to be manipulated, and ungrateful when you demand better. But that is because a woman who knows her worth is a threat to those who benefit from her doubting herself. A strong woman does not allow herself to be guilted into staying where she is not respected. She does not allow herself to be shamed into accepting less than what she deserves. She does not allow the fear of judgment to stop her from being who she truly is. Women are often expected to fix broken situations, to be the ones who compromise, to be the ones who hold everything together even when it is falling apart. But it is not your responsibility to fix things that were never meant for you. It is not your job to keep proving your worth to people who refuse to see it. It is not your duty to hold on to things that make you feel small. Sometimes strength is in letting go. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from something that no longer aligns with who you are. Self-respect is not negotiable. A strong woman does not engage in arguments with people who refuse to understand her worth. She does not waste her energy trying to prove herself to those who are committed to misunderstanding her. She does not shrink herself to fit into places she has outgrown. She knows that her presence is a privilege, not an obligation, and she does not hesitate to remove herself from situations that no longer serve her. The world will try to convince you that being strong means being unbreakable, that you must never show vulnerability, that you must never admit when you are hurting. But true strength is in allowing yourself to feel without letting those feelings define you. It is in acknowledging your pain but not being consumed by it. It is in recognizing your struggles but refusing to let them become your identity. Strength is not about pretending to have it all together all the time. It is about knowing that even in your moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty, you are still powerful. There is nothing weak about choosing yourself. There is nothing weak about walking away from people, places, or situations that no longer align with your happiness. There is nothing weak about refusing to settle for less than what you deserve. A strong woman is not one who stays silent in the face of injustice. She is one who speaks up even when her voice shakes. She is not one who tolerates disrespect in the name of love. She is one who loves herself enough to walk away. She is not one who waits for someone else to choose her. She is one who chooses herself every single day. For far too long, women have been told that their strength lies in their ability to endure. They are expected to be patient when they are disrespected, to be forgiving when they are hurt, to be understanding even when they are taken for granted. They are told that a good woman is one who sacrifices, who keeps the family together, who remains quiet to avoid conflict. But let me ask you this. At what cost? At the cost of her own happiness? At the cost of her self-worth? At the cost of losing herself in the process of trying to please everyone else? A strong woman is not one who suffers in silence. A strong woman is not one who stays in places where she is unappreciated. A strong woman is not one who allows herself to be mistreated just because she is afraid of being alone. Strength is not about how much you can take. It is about how much you refuse to accept. It is about knowing that you deserve to be treated with respect, with kindness, with love. It is about understanding that you do not have to settle for less than what you truly deserve. Women are often taught that their worth is tied to how much they can give, how much they can tolerate, how much they can compromise. But the moment you begin to value yourself, you will realize that you do not have to prove your worth to anyone. You do not have to keep pouring into people who only take from you. You do not have to keep accepting the bare minimum just because you are afraid of demanding more. You do not have to stay in spaces where you are only tolerated instead of celebrated. The world is uncomfortable with women who know their worth. They call them arrogant, too demanding, too outspoken. They say they have changed, that they are not the same anymore. But growth is not something to be ashamed of. Evolving is not something to apologize for. A woman who knows her worth will not shrink herself to make others comfortable. She will not silence herself just to avoid being called difficult. She will not lower her standards just because others refuse to rise to them. A strong woman understands that she does not need to seek validation from others. She does not need to wait for someone to tell her that she is enough. She does not need permission to live the life she wants. She does not apologize for prioritizing herself, for choosing her happiness, for setting boundaries that protect her peace. She knows that being strong does not mean being harsh. It means knowing when to say no, when to walk away, when to demand better. There will always be people who try to make you feel guilty for putting yourself first. They will say you're being selfish. They will tell you that you should think about others before thinking about yourself. But let me tell you something. If you do not take care of yourself, no one else will. If you do not prioritize your happiness, no one else will. If you do not set boundaries, people will continue to take advantage of your kindness. Women are taught to be everything for everyone, but who teaches them to be something for themselves? Who teaches them to prioritize their own dreams, their own goals, their own desires? Who tells them that it is okay to choose themselves, to walk away from things that no longer serve them, to demand the respect they deserve? Society expects women to be strong enough to carry everyone else, but weak enough to never put themselves first. But true strength is in knowing that you are worthy of the same love, care, and respect that you so freely give to others. A strong woman does not waste her time trying to convince people of her worth. She does not beg for love. She does not chase after people who do not value her. She does not stay where she is not wanted. She does not make excuses for those who hurt her. She does not give endless chances to those who continuously take her for granted. She knows that love should never require her to lose herself. Respect should never be something she has to fight for. Peace should never come at the cost of her own happiness. Women are often told to be soft, to be gentle, to be accommodating. But let me tell you this, softness is a choice, not a weakness. A strong woman knows when to be soft and when to stand firm. She knows when to give and when to hold back. She knows when to stay and when to leave. She knows that her kindness should not be mistaken for weakness. She knows that her patience should not be mistaken for tolerance. She knows that she can be both gentle and unbreakable, both kind and uncompromising, both loving and unwilling to settle for less than she deserves. A strong woman is one who refuses to be defined by the expectations of others. She does not allow society to dictate how she should live, how she should love, how she should exist. She does not wait for permission to take up space, to speak her mind, to pursue her dreams. She does not allow fear to stop her from becoming everything she is meant to be. She does not let the opinions of others keep her from choosing herself. There comes a time in every woman's life when she must make a choice between living for the approval of others and living for herself. Society conditions women to be agreeable, to be pleasant, to be nurturing, to always put others before themselves. It tells them that their role is to support, to compromise, to give endlessly, even at the cost of their own well-being. But how long will you continue to pour from an empty cup? How long will you continue to diminish yourself just to be accepted? How long will you silence your own voice just to keep the peace? A woman who knows her worth understands that she cannot be everything for everyone. She realizes that no matter how much she gives, there will always be people who expect more. She knows that if she continues to place everyone else's needs above her own, she will wake up one day feeling lost, exhausted, and resentful. And so she makes a choice, the choice to no longer betray herself in order to be loved. the choice to stop apologizing for wanting more out of life, the choice to stand in her power, to embrace her voice, to live unapologetically. Women are often told that their strength lies in their ability to endure, but real strength is knowing when to say enough. Enough of the endless sacrifices that leave you drained. Enough of the expectations that force you into roles that do not align with your true self. Enough of staying in places where you are unappreciated. Enough of shrinking yourself to fit into the narrow definitions of what a woman should be. True strength is not in suffering silently. It is in standing up for yourself, in setting boundaries, in refusing to be treated as less than you are. But the moment a woman decides to put herself first, she is met with resistance. She is told that she is being selfish, that she has changed, that she is no longer the woman she used to be. And they are right. She has changed. She has stopped settling for less. She has stopped accepting bare minimum love. She has stopped allowing people to walk all over her. She has stopped saying yes when she really wants to say no. And that kind of transformation makes people uncomfortable because they were used to a version of her that prioritized them over herself. The world is not kind to women who refuse to conform. When a woman speaks up, she is labeled difficult. When she stands her ground, she is called stubborn. When she demands respect, she is seen as aggressive. When she chooses herself, she is called selfish. And yet when a man does the same, he is praised for being confident, assertive, strong. But a woman must not let these labels define her. She must not allow the fear of judgment to keep her from living her truth. She must understand that she is not here to be liked by everyone. She is here to be real, to be whole, to be free. A strong woman does not wait for permission to be who she is. She does not seek validation from people who do not see her worth. She does not lower her standards to accommodate those who refuse to rise. She does not stay in spaces that drain her spirit. She understands that she is not responsible for making others comfortable at the expense of her own happiness. She knows that the right people will respect her boundaries, that the right relationships will not require her to diminish herself, that the right opportunities will not force her to compromise her values. A woman's strength is not measured by how much she can tolerate, but by how much she refuses to tolerate. It is measured by the way she walks away from situations that no longer serve her. It is measured by the way she protects her peace, by the way she refuses to be manipulated, by the way she no longer allows guilt to dictate her decisions. It is measured by the way she loves herself enough to say, I deserve better. Women have been raised to believe that they must always be understanding, that they must always forgive, that they must always be patient. But patience does not mean allowing yourself to be mistreated. Understanding does not mean justifying disrespect. Forgiveness does not mean going back to situations that continue to hurt you. A woman who values herself knows that she can be kind and still set boundaries. She can be loving and still demand respect. She can be giving and still refuse to be taken for granted. There will always be people who try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. They will try to convince you that you are wrong for demanding more, that you are unreasonable for setting standards, that you are difficult for not settling. But remember this, choosing yourself is not a betrayal of others. It is a commitment to yourself. It is an act of self-respect, of self-love, of self-worth. It is recognizing that you are not obligated to remain in places that do not nurture you, that you are not responsible for fixing people who refuse to change, that you are not here to play small so others can feel big. A strong woman does not allow fear to keep her stuck. She does not stay in toxic environments just because she is afraid of starting over. She does not hold on to relationships that drain her just because she is afraid of being alone. She does not cling to familiarity just because the unknown feels scary. She understands that walking away from what no longer serves her is not a loss, it is a gain. It is a step toward freedom, toward growth, toward a life that truly fulfills her. Women have been taught to be everything for everyone, but who teaches them to be something for themselves? Who tells them that their dreams matter just as much as anyone else's? Who reminds them that their happiness is just as important? A woman who knows her worth does not wait for permission to take up space, to chase her dreams, to live the life she desires. She does not let the fear of being judged stop her from being her true, authentic self. There is a silent expectation placed upon women, a deeply ingrained belief that they must be soft, accommodating, and endlessly forgiving. From the moment a girl is born, she is taught to be gentle, to be patient, to avoid confrontation, and to suppress the fire within her. She is told that being too strong, too ambitious, or too outspoken makes her unlikable. She is warned that if she stands her ground, she will be seen as difficult. She is conditioned to believe that her value is tied to how well she can serve others, how much she can endure, and how gracefully she can accept whatever life throws at her. But today I ask, when will this end? When will women stop being conditioned into submission? When will they realize that their strength is not something to be hidden, but something to be embraced? For too long, women have been told to be soft in the face of disrespect, to be patient when they are mistreated, to be forgiving even when they are repeatedly hurt. They are taught that it is their duty to keep families together, to fix broken relationships, to be the emotional caretakers of those who refuse to take accountability for their actions. They are told to compromise, even when it means compromising themselves. And so they give and give, hoping that one day their sacrifices will be acknowledged, that one day their kindness will be reciprocated. But what happens when that day never comes? What happens when a woman realizes that all she has done is lose herself in the process of trying to keep others happy? A woman who continues to put others first at the expense of her own happiness will eventually find herself empty. She will wake up one day and wonder where her dreams went, where her fire disappeared to, where the girl she used to be has gone. She will look in the mirror and see someone who has spent years making herself smaller, quieter, more agreeable, just to be accepted, just to be loved, just to avoid conflict. But what kind of love requires a woman to abandon herself? What kind of acceptance demands that she erase parts of who she is? What kind of peace is built on the suppression of her own desires, her own voice, her own worth? A woman must understand that she is not here to be everything for everyone while being nothing for herself. She must recognize that her softness should not come at the cost of her dignity. She must know that being kind does not mean allowing others to walk all over her, that being understanding does not mean tolerating disrespect, that being loving does not mean sacrificing her own happiness for the comfort of those who do not value her. Strength is not in endurance alone. It is in knowing when to walk away, when to say no, when to demand more, when to stop settling for less than she deserves. There's a fear that comes with choosing oneself, with breaking free from the expectations that have been placed upon women for generations. The fear of being labeled difficult, of being judged for setting boundaries, of being called selfish for prioritizing one's own well-being. But a woman who understands her worth does not allow this fear to control her. She does not let the opinions of others dictate how she lives her life. She does not stay in toxic relationships just because she has been told that a good woman never gives up. She does not endure suffering just to prove that she is strong. She does not tolerate mistreatment in the name of patience. Women have been raised to believe that their role is to nurture, to heal, to make everything right for those around them. But who teaches them to nurture themselves? Who tells them that their dreams, their ambitions, their happiness matter just as much as anyone else's? Who reminds them that they have the right to take up space, to chase their goals unapologetically, to put themselves first without guilt? A woman who realizes this truth begins to unlearn the lies that society has fed her. She stops waiting for permission to live on her own terms. She stops seeking validation from people who will never truly appreciate her. She stops compromising on the things that set her soul on fire. There will be those who try to make a woman feel guilty for changing, for growing, for outgrowing places and people that no longer align with her. They will say she has become cold, distant, too independent. They will call her arrogant for choosing herself, selfish for walking away from situations that drain her, ungrateful for demanding better. But a woman who has reclaimed her power does not let these words shake her. She understands that her growth is not meant to be understood by those who benefited from her silence. She knows that her strength will be intimidating to those who were used to her weakness. She recognizes that her worth is not determined by how much she is willing to tolerate, but by how much she refuses to accept. A woman who is no longer soft in the face of injustice, disrespect, and mistreatment is a woman who has found her power. She has learned that she does not have to be liked by everyone, that she does not have to meet every expectation placed upon her, that she does not have to sacrifice her happiness for the sake of keeping the peace. She has realized that the world will not always be kind to women who refuse to conform, but that does not mean she should shrink herself to fit into a mold that was never meant for her. Strength is not about hardness or cruelty. It is about knowing one's own value and refusing to let the world diminish it. It is about choosing authenticity over approval, self-respect over validation, growth over comfort. It is about standing firm in one's truth, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it means walking alone. A woman who stops being soft in the face of oppression and limitation does not become unkind. She becomes unstoppable.